So this is how I would scale an e-commerce brand from someone doing less than 10K per month to up to and over 20 to 30K per month in revenues. And this is something that we've done with a couple of hundred brands over the last 2 years, and something I did with my own e-commerce business that I co-founded in 2013 with my brother from the kitchen bench, where we scaled from 9K to 27K and then 35K in the next month using these strategies. So I'm going to go through exactly what it is. And this video is stemmed off the back of a training I did with my clients in my paid community Ecom Blueprint program. So I just want to share all of those lessons with you, because as I continue my e-commerce journey as an entrepreneur, I just understand and realize how many people need support and need help. So hopefully videos like this and all the ones on my channel that have been posted are valuable for you. So let's get stuck into it. So there's really 5 pillars that need to be addressed when it comes to how do I scale, how do I grow my e-commerce business. Now, I've particularly addressed the people doing under 10K per month and want to get to that 20, 30K per month in revenues in a short period of time. I'm talking like that 90 to 180 days, 3 to 6 months, a really reasonable period of time. It can happen as quickly as it did for us, for Karmic, back in the day, going from 9 to 27. It can happen that quickly. In fact, we had Adrian in our community who went from like 3K to 38K the next month. It was pretty crazy, and I'll talk about that, what that looks like in this video. But we want to obviously go for sustained growth, profitable growth as well. All right, so there's 5 things that I'm going to go through today in this video that you can walk away with and be like, okay, I've got absolute clarity and I know exactly what I need to do next. And these 5 things we actually go through with our clients and our paid community I just mentioned on an onboarding call, in like a 90-minute, 60-minute, 90-minute roadmap call where we actually identify these things and talk it out. So you can obviously use these pillars to help yourself within your business as well. So let's get stuck into them. So the first thing, proper foundations, or what I'd say is differentiation. So the biggest challenge that we see people have under 10K per month in revenues and stuck there, stagnated, can't scale, is that they're perceived to be the same as a lot of other brands. Now, of course, every entrepreneur will say we're not like every other brand. This is what we do, but it doesn't matter. It's the prospect or the prospective customer on the other end that makes that judgment call. So what we advise, we have a worksheet where it basically is a product market sheet, for example. And a lot of entrepreneurs would have seen this. You may have done this when you started your business, but nonetheless, it's a very good trigger for people to go through exactly who they are, who they help, who their target audience are. Because if I draw a chart and say, this is how we speak to our target audience, and this is how our target audience actually receives that information, or their wants, needs, and desires, we have to marry those two up and meet them in the middle. That's what I would call a 10 out of 10 marketing messages, when how we speak and how we deliver our services and products meets how people speak, our prospective customers speak, and their wants, needs, and desires. That's a 10 out of 10. That's where it's like, that brand understands me, that product will serve exactly what I need right now, want right now, desire right now. Okay, so we need to work really hard on that differentiation, because that creates the foundations of what we do next, right? If we have really loose foundations, if we're building our house on sand with no proper reinforcement, it's gonna collapse. Okay, so our foundations need to be sound. We need to differentiate ourselves from everyone else in the market. We need to say, we are not like this, and this, because. And I'll use an example of actually Karmic when we started. So we had a lot of feedback from people saying, oh, I didn't want to do this juice cleanse, I didn't want to do that juice cleanse because there's so much fruit, like fructose in the cleanse programs. Now, fruit is obviously healthy typically, but when you're drinking 5 liters of fruit juice over a 2-day period, that's a lot of fructose, a lot of sugar that goes into your system. So people have spikes in their fructose levels, in their sugar levels, and they also, some people put on weight because of how much they were actually consuming. So our differentiation consciously was less than 5% fructose in every juice or every cleanse, meaning we didn't use fruits in our juices. No one else was doing that. In fact, I think only one person's copied us in those last 13, 14 years, surprisingly. But that was our massive differentiator, why people came to us, why people stuck with us as customers. So you need to find what that is and just hammer that. Hammer in all of your marketing, all of your foundations. You want to be separated, right? Because if you're seen like other brands, you will just be competing on one thing, and that is price. And I guarantee someone's willing to do it cheaper. So that's number 1, is foundations and differentiation. So the second thing we look at is a consistent marketing strategy. All right, so this is where we basically bring in and say, okay, of the marketing triangle, explain what that is, and I've explained that in other videos too. What are you doing to drive traffic? It's never just one source, it's the combination of the marketing triangle, which looks like ads, what are we doing paid? what are we doing from our database and what are we doing organically? And those things are all intertwined. They're all important. They all leverage off of each other, because we know when a customer comes through our doors that typically they haven't just seen one ad and then they go and purchase. They haven't just seen one email and then they go and purchase. They see the ad, they sign up for the email list, they get the email, they see an influencer post, they get a competition notification, right? There could be so many touch points that they're all important. They're all leveraged off each other, right? Now, what's the straw that breaks the camel's back? No one really knows, right? We see attributions through ads and emails and things, but even the customer wouldn't know, hey, what actually made you purchase? But it might be a timing thing, it might be the offer thing. Nonetheless, the question then, or the strategy then becomes, what are we doing to drive traffic consistently? We know organic is really powerful in the right hands. For example, when we're leveraging other people's audiences, okay? Influencers, competitions, affiliates, PR, public relations, right? We want to find organizations and people where we can leverage their audience over to us. They're the people who get the biggest amount of scale. Now, I'll fill you on the secret about how we scaled from 9 to 27K in that next month. It was from an influencer, okay? She had 500,000 followers. She posted about our product, was doing our juice cleanse. Her audience was the same as our purchasers or our target demographic, and they liked what they saw and they bought and then they stuck around, okay? So that was the highest form of leverage for a brand doing under 10K, and that's exactly what Adrian did, who I mentioned before, who went from 2 to 38K in the next month. Same thing, a podcaster. She was also an influencer on social media, but she posted about his skincare, loved it, and blew up his business, all right? And it's insane the amount of results. So in that early stages, you want to be leveraging other people's audiences as much as possible. It's the most cost effective, but also the fastest way to get the biggest ROIs. I've never seen bigger ROIs than influencer marketing, PR marketing, okay? Now, if you've tried it once and it didn't work, that's not a real test case. We have people come in all the time saying, I tried it once and they didn't respond, or they didn't post, or they didn't do X, Y, Z. You have to have the proper strategy. That's what we teach people in our program, but I just want to emphasize the fact that you have to leverage off other people's audiences. It's a long, hard, expensive road if it's just you doing everything all the time and saying, nah, my head's down. You're rolling the square wheel. You see the caveman analogies, right? Rolling the square wheel and saying, don't talk to me, I'm too busy. And the person with the round wheel is standing right next to you looking to help you. That's what I would relate it to, right? So you need to work really hard, really diligently to leverage other people's audiences. That's organically. Of course, we need to keep posting. We need to make sure somebody's home. We need to make sure that people who come and visit our socials know that we're there and we're live and we're active. We need the algorithm to also do the same thing. So organic content is really important, but emphasizing the outbound efforts of our leveraging other people's audiences, influencers, affiliates, collaborations, PR, for example, okay? That's the first part of the triangle. Second part is our database. Building our database for a start, but also being to harvest from that database, meaning sending offers, sending campaigns, continually engaging, continually providing value, right? Indoctrinating people into our ecosystem to make them sticky so that they can ultimately buy for the first time, but ultimately buy over and over and over. That's lifetime values, right? Third part of what we call the magic 3, right? Traffic, converting, lifetime values, right? So that's a really big component, is to have a proper email strategy. And do not be shy, do not hesitate, do not hold back from over communicating. When you're nervous about sending an email, that's when you know you need to send it, okay? And too many people, I'd say 99% of people don't send enough email communication. This is the attitude that you should take, that no one knows about you and everyone wants to know about you, okay? That's our philosophy through our program, and that's what I want to give to you to adopt, okay, as well. Right, the third part of that traffic strategy is paid. So typically we're using meta ads, there's some Google there, but even that's just sort of running on $10 a day, a PMAX campaign for people that know what that is. But with meta, we want to have a top of funnel, meaning we're bringing cold audiences into our ecosystem, and a bottom of funnel, meaning we're retargeting people that have been to our website, our organic socials in terms of Instagram and Facebook, and even our email list as well. We can retarget those people so they never don't see us. Okay, they're always familiar. We're always serving that impression to them. That's a really important part of our strategy. So getting new people in the door that we'll pay money for, okay, that's top of funnel. Okay, we can use an Advantage Plus campaign there on Meta. Super simple. It goes after who Meta thinks it actually wants to go after. That means our ad needs to be tight about who it's targeting. And then also our bottom of funnel, our retargeting. So really important components there. The third component then is about, once we have that traffic, converting that traffic. So our website needs to be optimized. It needs to be mobile optimized especially. Even though we create our websites on our desktop computers, some people just neglect that, like 80% of people are actually looking at our site on their mobiles. Okay, so that's really important that it's mobile optimized especially in terms of ratios, qualities, user experience, etc. Everything else in between. Okay, so your website needs to be really super simple. It needs to be user-friendly, it needs to be easy to navigate, it needs to be very visual, and also needs to have a lot of social proof. So think about someone who comes to your site, they want to know who you are, what you do, and how credible you are. okay? Because a lot of people have been scammed, they lack trust, and we have to earn their trust. So the more reviews that you can get, the better. The more user-generated content you can have, the better. The more angles of the proportion of your products, how it fits, how to use it, the better. We need to have a really strongly optimized website because we can drive all the traffic we want, paid or free, but if it's not converting, we're not going to get sales, we're not going to scale. And then the fourth part is lifetime values and also average order values. So strategies to basically increase the size of lifetime values, people coming back to your site, buying and spending more, but also on site, people spending more at their first purchase, but also, subsequent purchases after that as well. So things like bundles, things like upsells, cross sells, we can use apps for that. Very, very simple to get them at the cart or the post-purchase even, all right? The other thing too is to have email automations. You should have all of your flows, whether it's in Klaviyo or another CRM, active and firing at the appropriate times to hit people up and serve that impression about when they might need your product, okay? Email automations are the easiest way to make money for Jam. And I can guarantee that you'll make thousands of dollars of sales per month through your email automations. And as I say, it's a great way to recapture people. So you can do, for example, a win-back flow where after they've purchased 120 days ago, 180 days ago, you're sending an automation to them saying, hey, come back because we love you and appreciate you and hope you're enjoying your product. Buy it with this, get this special offer. We want to re-engage people as much as possible so they can spend more at the time and also spend more over their lifetime. So a re-engagement strategy, so increasing lifetime values and repeat customer rates is critical, especially when it's about recouping your advertising dollars on that front end for that first purchase. So super critical that we have AOV bumps and bundle bumps and obviously re-engagement and lifetime value bumps. And then the fifth thing, which is again absolutely crucial, and it's amazing how many people don't do this, but this is why we teach these, is tracking. Tracking absolutely everything we possibly can. Tracking our inputs to our outputs. Tracking our performance to the effect, right? What we did and then how did it actually impact on our overall sales and results. And if we know that, we're not just looking at the scoreboard, the end results, the sales, we're actually looking at the entire playbook in the middle as well. So crucial because then you know what you can fix and where those bottlenecks are. If you don't know what your conversion rate is, you might assume that it's a traffic problem and focus on the wrong thing, driving more traffic to a non-converting site or a poor performing site, right? If you don't know that you have any repeat customer rates, you might not emphasize people coming back or increasing AOVs. So therefore you're just pumping more and more effort and money into the front end, trying to just cram as many people in as you possibly can when you can do little things on the back end to enhance that and become way more profitable. So we need to know what is being read in every element of our business so you can see what needs to be plugged, what hole needs to be plugged. So tracking is absolutely crucial. And we will use something just really simple tracking sheet, honestly. As I say, what we're doing on a daily basis, how much we're spending, what are our organic efforts, what are our email efforts, and what does that actually mean when it comes to our output or our effect, as we call it, okay? So those are the 5 things, right? As I say, if I was going from less than 10K a month to 20 to 30K per month in the next 90 to 120 days, 180 days, that's what I'll do. And that's what we advise our clients on as well. Okay, so if you want to know more about what we actually do, there's a link below. You can check that out. You can see what we do, who we help, and how we might be able to help you as well. If you're an e-commerce business that wants to increase your revenues further, all the way to that first 10K, up to 100K per month, you can click on that link and have a bit of a look. But regardless, I really genuinely appreciate you being here and hope you got value from this. If you did like it, give us a like and a subscribe. And obviously, if you want to know anything more about e-commerce, then I'm producing videos like this all the time. So just feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you're interested in. I'll produce it based on my results, my clients' results, time in the game, everything in between, and I'm more than happy to help in any possible way. So again, genuinely thank you for being here. Hope you got the value, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.